Happy Wednesday, everybody. We got a lot of
Too bad.
baseball stuff to cover tonight. We're going to be recapping last week's All-Star festivities. And then, of course, there's a lot of news around the world of baseball that we got to get into. So kick back, relax, because another edition of Hitting Home starts right now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back into another edition of Hitting Home, only here on 609 Sports Talk Radio. This is, of course, 609 show for all the latest and greatest conversations around the world of baseball. And as always, we are your hosts, Sam Nelson. And no, for anyone who didn't know, I do not talk to just a random black screen every week. He is my co-host, Dustin Reese, who, yes, we can see him this week. Dustin,
Yes,
how we doing, brother?
yes, you can see me this week. Doing well. Took a mental health day, so hey, we're good.
Trust me, sometimes you just need it. It's always good to take care of the mental health. So, got a jam-packed show. Got some minor MLB trades that went down over the past couple of days into last week. Had a couple contract extensions to get through over last week. One of them I understand. The other one I understand, but I don't know why the player accepted it. We'll get into that. Dustin and I will, of course, try to take our frustrations out on the grid, which, by the way, I got an agenda this week with the grid. I have an issue. We got screwed on Monday. According to the grid, Rob Gronkowski never played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm out for revenge tonight. I'm out for revenge. I'm mad and I'm not happy about it still, but hopefully we can take the grid down this week. Phillies take
According to the grid that I did this morning, Vince Carter never played for the Raptors either, so
what's okay on 80, you know that 82 and 0 thing that people do now all of a
yeah.
sudden apparently he's labeled as a small forward, shooting guard, and power forward. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never saw Vince Carter play a minute of power forward a day in my life.
He did one game.
Awesome.
Did when he was in with the Atlanta Hawks. He played power forward one game because they matched him up with Siakam.
Wait, isn't that when he was like 45 years old?
Yeah, he was in there. It was when they had John Collins and
Oh dear.
whoever else their big was, and one of their bigs ended up getting hurt, and the other one had a bloody nose. So they threw Vince Carter in there for like 3 minutes to play power forward against Siakam.
Let's give it a go. You're 45. Let's do it. So yeah, so when we do that damn grid, we're gonna have, I got some issues to take with it tonight. We're going 9 for 9. I'm not taking nothing else. I need a 9 for 9 with no questions asked. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about the extensions. Phillies suffered a big blow to their bullpen as well last week. I'll talk about that. Even though some people will make the argument that Brad Keller wasn't having the greatest year, I will get into why that is a major loss for this bullpen, as I'm seeing tonight. But speaking of Philadelphia, we are going to start off the show with a little bit of our opinions from last week. Now, we were on Monday last week. Since Unbiased was off on Monday and a bunch of shows weren't on last week, we decided to do Hitting Home on Monday night. We did our MLB midseason awards. Thank you, everybody who tuned in and watched that show. It was an awesome time. Glad that we were able to get that show out. So all the All-Star festivities were kind of happening / haven't happened yet. So we were on before the All-Star game. And I feel like just to kick the show off, let's give our thoughts on how the All-Star week went, how Philadelphia did with it. Me personally, I think they did a great job. I thought the ballpark looked great. The All-Star Village they had looked really awesome. I wish I could have been a part of some of the festivities, but I know a bunch of my friends over at the 302 Birds podcast. I know a couple of them went to the Derby. I know Dalton went to the All-Star game itself, so it seemed like a great time. But I mean, Dustin, what were your thoughts on the All-Star festivities?
I mean, there's a reason why Major League Baseball All-Star Week is my favorite of all the All-Star games. You have the Home Run Derby, which is basically what everyone waits for, anyways. That's always the most watched event of all the events that go on during All-Star Week, and it's always the most attended event like throughout the week. That's literally what people are paying to see is stuff like that. Then you have. Do they still do the celebrity softball game?
I don't think they did this year.
Because they used to do that because I used to. The funny thing was that always happens before the home run derby, but you always see it after the home run derby. Like for whatever reason, they never aired that until the home run derby was over, which was kind of funny because I always loved watching the celebrity softball game. Now you have the MLB futures game that's kind of mixed in there now too, so you get to see like a lot of the prospects and things like that. They just do a great job of getting everything that you want them to, everything they want to show you to watch. Whether it's the futures game, the home run derby, the All-Star game, you have all the players mic'd up, like when Bryce Harper's making that ABS challenge and he knew it was a strike. He's like, yeah, let's just do it anyways. We got to use it.
Okay, we haven't used this all night. No, I think the celebrity thing got replaced, whatever that challenge was that Jimmy Rollins did.
Oh, okay.
Because that was one of my favorite things about the All-Star game is, I'd watch the All-Star game and then they would replay the celebrity softball game at like midnight that night. So okay, let's rewatch it. But
Kevin Hart would have been in
yeah,
it, you know that.
yeah, I like the celebrity softball game. I think honestly, you could have done that in Philly. You could have brought a lot of ex-Philly athletes back. Man, that would have been hilarious.
Kevin Hart would have did it. Will Smith probably would have did it. All the old Phillies like Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard probably do it.
Oh, when they were doing those challenges, that thing that Jimmy Rollins was doing, and they had like the home plate set up around second base, doing like a home run derby. I'll tell you something. The big piece, he's still got a little bit left in that bat of his. It's a shame he's not a right-handed hitter. I'd say if the Phillies were interested because we um we can't hit, but that's another story for another day. But no, I thought everything about the All Star game itself was awesome. Now, the American League dominated. I mean, it was really just the first inning of offensive excitement. And then I think we had, one Miguel Vargas home run, and that was basically it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the American League pitching was absolutely dominant. Christopher Sanchez had a very rough first inning. What was your thoughts? I love the Sandlot thing that they did.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally the YouTube thumbnail for us tonight is recapping the All-Star game, and I have that as like the thumbnail. It's the coolest thing because it's a way to remind us all that no matter what our opinions on the sport is, baseball is still baseball.
Right.
It's still something that it's the national pastime. That is what this is. It's always going to be the national pastime. And I thought that with the fireworks was the coolest thing ever. However, I do have one little gripe about one thing for the All-Star week. For a sport, I get everyone wants to get on the money. Wherever the money's offered, you gotta take it. I get it. And I also know that ESPN dropping Sunday Night Baseball had a lot to do with this happening too.
Netflix only, you're going, aren't you?
Yes. I'm okay with you wanting to go to look. I'm sure Netflix came to them and said, "You see this check? We want the Derby." I'm sure of it. But do we have to exclusively do it?
I mean, in my opinion, baseball's done the best job of alienating their fans based on like all the TV mishaps they do, all the broadcasting blackouts and all the other stuff like that. Like they've made it nearly impossible to even watch your favorite baseball team play. So seeing them do something like that definitely does not surprise me. Just because it's just kind of in their nature to make it difficult to watch the most watched event of the year. They want to make it as difficult as possible to see it. But like if ESPN doesn't want it, then put it on NBC. Put it on Fox. Put it on FS1. Put it on one of the major channels that carries Major League Baseball right now because the All-Star game is on Fox anyways. Why don't you just put the Derby on Fox? Why don't you just put the Derby on Fox?
And like with NBC, like, all right, Sunday Night Baseball's gone from doing that to now they're on Peacock, but NBC's also involved. You're telling me that we couldn't have just, like you said, Fox had the All-Star game. You're telling me Fox could have said, okay, look, we understand that Netflix is taking the Derby. Give it to us too. We'll give you this for it. So you can carry it on national television. And I'm so happy that I was not the only one thinking about this. This is the one sport that does such a great job, like you said it perfectly, of alienating their fans against them. Because for a sport that is already, like you said, they black out everything. For a sport that is on the verge of probably not having a full season, which, by the way, releasing next year's schedule last week was really cute. Because, hate to break it. Oh, it's going to be the earliest start to opening day? No, it's probably going to be the latest start to an opening day next year. So I give them a nice try trying to fool everybody. And they're like, oh, they're trying to put pressure on the players. No, that's not going to work.
Some players are going to see the season starting March 24th, and they're like, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, more like June 24th. But for a sport that is trying to save its face with its fans, with all the complaints they've had of rule changes or the pace of play being too slow. Now, they've done a good job with that. I know George, who has already thrown a comment in there saying it's good to see you for finally. Like, so for all the people that don't like some of the rule changes, I agree with some of them. I like ABS. I like the chat. I like that we have instant replay. I like the pitch clock. I don't like the ghost runner rule, but that's my opinion. But for a sport that has had to deal with so much critique from its fan base over the past decade plus, they really do just not understand how to read the room. And even with the All-Star game, the game was fine once it got started.
Right.
Like, again, it is a Tuesday night, and the game didn't start till almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You don't need an 8 o'clock start time for an All-Star game. When baseball games all season round are starting at between 6:40 and 7:10. Why is the All-Star game got to be at 8? Oh, it's the prime time slot. It's Major League Baseball. Anything you put on them is the prime time slot.
Right.
It doesn't have to be 8 o'clock. Like the World Series. It's like, oh, the World Series is in Toronto. Cool. Why am I waiting until 20 of 9 Eastern time to watch the damn game?
So you want to make sure half the nation's sleeping.
Like, I just don't understand why this league just continues to do things. And like we said, everything was cool. The All-Star Village looked really cool. The MLB draft, now because of course now they're trying to compete with the NFL and the NBA with their drafts and have live fan reactions, which it's cool. I get it. But and this is just a dose of reality to Major League Baseball, and I'll even go one further, the National Hockey League. I get what you're trying to do. You will never. And I'll even throw the NBA in there because they're trying to do it now with 2 nights. None of you will ever, in the history of eternity, compete with the NFL draft. The NFL will always dominate when it comes to draft viewership because of how they do it. You'll never be able to compete with that. The NBA, nobody cared about your second round when you only had it on one night. I turned it off as soon as I saw Mark Tatum come out. Time to turn it off. But either way, I think what baseball did with trying to have the fans all around like the NFL does, I thought it was cool. Everything about the All-Star Week went great. Except the fact that we had the Home Run Derby exclusively on Netflix, which, by the way, the Home Run Derby viewership was the worst it's been since 2003.
I wonder why.
Very right. And the All-Star game, that no issues, except, again, why do we have to start the game, say it's like, oh, we're starting at 8:30, but hey, let's put all this stuff together, so now we're not starting until almost 9 o'clock. It's a Tuesday. It is not Saturday. It is not Friday. It is a Tuesday. People have work. Not saying people don't work on the weekends. I'm one of them. But, again, people have lives and have to work. You can't start your All-Star game at 9 o'clock at night when you're on the East Coast. Because If they were out in Los Angeles doing the All-Star game, guess what? They would probably start the game at 7 o'clock Eastern time because of the time difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my thoughts on the whole thing. I thought everything about the All-Star week was great, but there's just small things that they don't need to do.
No, and I did hear that Major League Baseball is trying to get the All-Star game in at the Field of Dreams in the coming years, which I think would be cool.
Now, see, yeah, that's the part I like. First
Not
pitch,
the
9:05.
not the home run derby there. They would do the home run derby somewhere else, but they want to play the actual game itself at the Field of Dreams Stadium, which I think would be cool.
Now, see, that would be weird though.
Not really, because
That
I
would
mean,
def-
look, how many times have we seen it where the people in the home run derby don't always play in the All-Star game?
Hey, you got a good point there.
And I mean, realistically, you could do the home run derby in Target Field, or you could do it at Wrigley Field or Rate Field or Miller Park, and it's what 3.5 hours from Miller Park to Dyersville, Iowa.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I would think that's kind of weird though to have the Derby in a completely different stadium than where the game is being held. But again, if you put it at the Field of Dreams, that's going to be the most lopsided home run derby ever.
I mean, what if like a town like Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York got the All-Star game? You could easily make it where you, instead of picking the stadium, you could just be like, Los Angeles gets All-Star Week. You put the home run derby at Dodger Stadium, you play the game at Angel Stadium. You put the home run derby at Citi Field, you play the game at Yankee Stadium. You put the home run derby at Wrigley Field, you play the game at Rate Field. You're still in the same city. You're just giving both stadiums in that city a chance to see two events.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And what George threw a nice comment in here, and he said, "Forget the streaming crap. The NFL is just ignorant right now about these stupid Thursday night football games. Now that ESPN has NFL Network, that may go bye bye. Screw the streamers." George, tell me how you really feel. I think you're holding back on me, George. I don't think you're telling me exactly how you feel about this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I think the Field of Dreams thing would be a very cool idea. I have no issue with that. Do we know where the All Star game is supposed to be held next year?
Wrigley.
Okay, regular. Yeah, I forgot. They just unveiled the sign the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just saw this. I just saw that too. And as soon as you said, I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. But yeah, like I said, All Star festivities were awesome. Everything, the city looked awesome. Everybody seemed like it was great. Just small little executional things that they could have done better to avoid some of the issues. Like I said, the home run derby, you can have it on Netflix. I'm okay with that. Netflix is fine. But 5.3 million viewers was the viewership for the home run derby, according to Yahoo Sports. It's the smallest audience since the home run derby in 2003. So, like I said, you could have, you could have gave part of it, you could have gave it to Netflix and Fox since the All Star game's already on Fox to
Yeah.
begin with. Since ESPN carried it all the years because they had Sunday Night Baseball, you could have gave it to NBC and said, hey, you guys have been carrying Sunday Night Baseball. Why don't you have the Derby? We'll give you part of it. And it's like, I don't understand why they had to go exclusive to one place. Now, again, the check was probably massive.
The check probably was nice 10 figures, 9 figures, something like that.
Yeah, honestly. Because, yeah, it's a good question. What made 2003's Home Run Derby so unwatchable? Who was in the 2003 Home Run Derby?
Where the heck was it? It was the year of. Hold on. Let me. What made it so unwatchable was a couple of things. It was right after. Hold on. The field wasn't that good, I don't think, to begin with. Because I don't think there was anyone that. That's when like all these home home run derby, people were having like 40 home runs at the All-Star break. But the 2003 home run derby was at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago, so the White Sox Stadium. Garrett
Right.
Anderson was the winner. Albert Pujols was the runner-up. The other participants in the derby were Jason Giambi, Jim Edmonds, Gary Sheffield, Carlos Delgado, Richie Sexton, and Hank Blaylock. That's a very weak field. And Garrett Anderson won with 22 total home runs. Not 22 home runs in one round, 22 total for the whole event.
All right, wait, and say the field again. Who was in it? I know it was Garrett Anderson. You said Albert Pujols.
Jason Giambi,
Okay,
Jim Edmonds,
okay,
Gary Sheffield,
Gary. Okay,
Carlos Delgado,
okay.
Richie Sexton, and Hank Blaylock.
I mean, outside of Hank Blaylock and Richie Sexton, that's not a terrible field.
It's not
I
a
mean,
it's not an excitement field that you're gonna want to go to either. Like the final round, Garrett Anderson beat Pujols 9-8.
yeah, that's okay. Maybe I gotta retract my statement here because yeah, that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad, actually.
Especially when you get to pick the person throwing to you. You basically get to tell them where you want them to throw the pitch every single time. And you're still only hitting 22 total home runs in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Albert Pujols had 4 home runs in the first round. And he got put in a 3-way tie for last place to advance, but he won via the tiebreaker because of distance. So the first round had people that so Jason Giambi had 12 homers in the first round, took first. Second was Garrett Anderson with 7. Then you had Pujols, Jim Edmonds, and Gary Sheffield with each hitting 4 home runs. Tiebreaker went to Jim Edmonds over that and Albert Pujols. Second round was the semifinals, and you had Pujols had 14, Giambi had 6, Garrett Anderson had 11, Jim Edmonds had 4, and then in the finals, Garrett Anderson won 9-8.
Oh my god. Fighting Philly. That was Hank Blaylock, who I do remember on the Texas Rangers. But yeah, that's I feel you. And I'll be personal. I know he played for the Mariners, but the only remembrance I have of Richie Sexton is his brief stint with the Yankees, which I believe was in 2008,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
And then you go, and then you look at the year before that though. The year before that, the home run derby was at Miller Park. And then the first round, you had Sammy Sosa hit 12 home runs. 9 of them went 525 plus.
Well, again, right there, that's honestly, you could stop right there and just Sammy Sosa sells the entire derby. You could stop right there.
Sosa was not in the 2003 derby. He came back in the 2004 home run. Okay, so the field that I just read you for 23, listen to the field for 2004. So they knew that they messed up in 2003 when they put that field out there. This was the field for 2004. Miguel Tejada, Lance Berkman, Rafael Palmeiro, Jim Thome, David Ortiz, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa.
Oh my God.
So they knew they messed up in 03.
You think?
And Tejada ended up winning that one actually over Berkman.
Oh my God. So Miguel Tejada goes into a home run derby with Ortiz, Bonds, Thome. Who else?
Sosa, Palmeiro, Ortiz, Berkman, and it was Tejada had 15 home runs in the semifinal, and then he beat Berkman 5-4 in the finals.
That's funny. That's actually funny to me.
And the 2005 home run derby wasn't that good. 2006 was stacked. That was at PNC. I mean, the home run
That was
derbies
the one.
really have not been great since 2006. Lineup wise, I mean, lineup wise, anyways, like performance wise, they've been good, but like actual star player wise, they haven't been that great since like 2004.
Yeah, because wasn't 05 06 when the Phillies won it back to back?
Yeah,
Yeah, so 05 was Abreu, that was a Comerica, and then Howard won it in 06.
yep, and
Fighting for the
then Vladimir Guerrero won it in 2007.
Wow, I forgot Vladdy won it in 07. I forgot that Vlad won it then. Yeah, no, fighting Philly. Miguel Tejada in his prime, absolute star. Probably one of the best shortstops in baseball at that time. But yeah, no, you're right. Definitely,
I'm waiting to you done.
there are definitely some situations with the home run derby that there have been where they're not as good as they used to be. There's not a lot of star power in it anymore. Like, yes, you had Schwarber, you had Harper, and all that stuff. But lately, it's been like, okay.
I mean, let's even go back. I'll go back a little further. Like, I'm not going to go through all these, like obviously all the lineups that these home run derbies have put forth. I mean, we'll just go to 1998 on and just the winners of the home run derby. Griffey won it in 98, 99. So
Okay.
obviously he's one of the best home run hitters of all time, so you kind of expect that from him. 2000, Sammy Sosa won it.
Okay.
Expect that from him. He actually beat Ken Griffey Jr. in the final, so Griffey actually had a chance to three-peat. 2001, Luis Gonzalez wins the home run derby. Beat Sammy Sosa in the final. That field, Luis Gonzalez beat Sammy Sosa, Jason Giambi, Barry Bonds, and A-Rod. Then 2002, Jason Giambi beat Sammy Sosa at Miller Park. 2003, we already said. 2004, we already said. 2005, you said Abreu. 2006, Ryan Howard knocked out David Wright. 2007, Vladimir Guerrero won. 2008, Justin Morneau won, despite Josh Hamilton having 28 home runs in the first round.
Yeah.
And then 2009, Prince Fielder won. 2010, David Ortiz won. 11, Cano. 12, Fielder again. 13, Yoenis Cespedes. He also won in 14, so he went back to back. Todd Frazier won in 15.
The Todd father?
Todd Father won in 15.
Oh my god.
And then Giancarlo Stanton won in 16. Judge in 17. Harper, obviously, in 18. Pete Alonso in 19 and 21. Soto in 22. Guerrero Jr. in 23. Teoscar in 24. And then Cal Raleigh in 2025. So, I mean, yes, they're home run hitters, but I mean, you look at the ones that have been winning, they're not like the ones that you would think would be winning the home run.
I mean, like Jordan Walker, don't shout out to him. Awesome that he won it, but like the fact that he walked off Kyle Schwarber in his own ballpark, I gotta admit that's pretty.
The thing with Jordan
That,
Walker, though, which I watch him a lot because he plays the Cubs, but when you watch him in that home run derby and watch that swing that he actually has, he didn't really ever get tired. Like he had
no,
the same swing the entire time, and he wasn't like changing the swing at all. He was just swinging the same way every single time. That ball was just flying off his bat.
yeah. I mean, it's a very short swing, and it doesn't. It's not like Kyle Schwarber is trying to obliterate baseballs when he swings.
Yep.
Just a quick heads up. What Fighting Philly is referring to is if you go back and watch the '06 Derby, you can hear when there was a mic close enough to David Wright that he popped out one of his swings, and you just hear him say, "Ah, damn it!" It was like one of his last like 3 swings in the championship in the final round. And yes, fighting Philly, the '08 Hamilton round was some must see television. And that was an old Yankee Stadium before they tore it down. That wasn't no new. That was not new Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
That was
no, I
old
mean that's the
Yankee
same thing
Stadium.
with Sammy Sosa's round at Miller Park. Like every one of his home runs went 450, and 9 of his 11 went 520 plus. Was just hitting freaking moon balls.
Yeah. Again, but like that's the thing though. You don't have that every year those type of players anymore in the Derby. Like now, again, you still have good players, but
They don't want to do it anymore.
no.
And Aaron Judge admitted, like when he won the home run derby, he screwed up his swing for the next month. And that's why a lot of these players don't want to do the derby anymore, because it does screw with their swing over an extended period of time when that derby's done, because you're going into the derby with one goal in mind: to swing as hard as you can and hit that ball as far as you can. You can't do that when the regular season's going on. We're seeing different pitch speeds and different pitch variations. You can't go up there with the mindset that you're going to stand back and hit it as hard and as far as you want to hit it every single time. That's why people that win the home run derby tend to struggle for the first couple weeks out of the All-Star break, because their swing is so screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, and yes, fighting Philly. I wish Utley would have won in '08 too. Kind of broke my heart that he didn't, but and that's the thing. Like Utley had a tremendous first half of the season in 2008, and I don't even think he hit double-digit home runs in the second half. It does. It messes with certain guys' swings, and I mean, I'll be real. Like Bryce Harper's not off to the greatest start in the second half of the season. I mean, he homered once. I think Schwarber's homered once, but you just get into that weird mode when you're swinging for the fences like that, and then yeah, it's hard to put your swing back to where it was during the first half of the year. But again, like I said, I have no issue with how everything went in Philly. I think Philly did a great job. I think the city was awesome. I mean, Philly's had a lot going on this year with, the 250th birthday for America. We've had the World Cup. We had the All-Star game. A lot of cool stuff going on. But yeah, if you could have just put the Derby in other places to watch, I think it would have been better. And again, this is the one sport that we all love the most, but damn it, if they are not trying to alienate more fans by the day with some of the decisions they make.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting. I'm just again, like I'm into baseball this year, but again, it's what's coming after this is that it's got everybody just waiting to see, like, all right, how are we going to mess this up?
Right.
Because now that they're kind of in a good, they are in a good spot with most of their fans. Some of the rule changes are okay. People don't mind them, but now we have to wait and see what happens with the CBA. No new updates on that. We don't really have many major CBA negotiations that were going on as of last week. I'm surprised there were no more negotiations, at least, offers made because they were at the All-Star break. But again, it's probably just realized that, well, we've tried this for 3 months into the season and nothing's happened. So why do it now?
Right. Why fix what's not broken?
Yeah, we're all pretty much just going to stand pat till the off season, so we can try to muster this up within the first couple weeks of the off season. Let's just wait till then.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, we have had a couple of moves happen over the past couple weeks. We got a couple trades, got a key injury for the Phils, got some contract extensions. Let's start off with those contract extensions. Chase Burns and the Reds, 7 years, $105 million as his new contract extension. I'm going to let you start off with this because you were caught off guard by this. Not because of the contract, but
yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised the Reds extended him because, given Hunter Green's injury history, you need an ace to kind of build the future of your rotation around. And granted, he's still very young. He's the ace of the future for that team. As good as Hunter Green is, the injury history that Green has, you can't count on him to be your ace long term. Chase Burns is going to be the ace of that staff starting next year and for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, they had to try to get him locked up as long as they could. They had to try to get him locked up for as long as they could before he would actually hit the market and maybe get more money than what he did. But that's the issue. If you're Chase Burns, why do you take $105 million? You're basically saying you're only worth $14 million a year at this point, maybe $15 million a year at this point, and yet you're right in the middle of the Cy Young race right now because of how well you pitched. I get that there's a lot of uncertainty coming with a pending lockout and things like that, but even after the lockout is over, Chase Burns is going to get more than that if he waits even one more year to sign that extension.
And, we talked about this, when Connor Griffin and Kevin McGonigal got their extensions, young players. Now, they're position players, but still young players seeing the uncertainty coming in the game of baseball with the CBA looming, and that maybe just want to get that money while you're young, while you can. Chase Burns is in his first full season in Major League Baseball. He made 6 starts last year. So this year is
been not great last year either, I don't think. I think his 6 starts last year were ugly.
Yeah, he definitely did not have a great first couple of starts in Major League Baseball. But this year, he is 12-1. He's got a 2.42 ERA. His whip is 1.11. He's got 124 strikeouts and 107 2/3 innings. This is his first full season in Major League Baseball. He has not even come close to cracking the surface to what his full potential could be, which probably would be the best pitcher in the National League Central if this guy named Jacob Mizorowski didn't exist. You could probably make the case that Chase Burns has probably the second best arm in his division, and that's only because the other guy throws 110.
I still got to throw Skeens in there, though.
I think this year?
I'm just saying from an arm standpoint. I still think Skeens has a better arm than Chase Burns. He's just not having a Paul Skeens season that he typically has.
His mechanics are off by a smidge. If you look at like his glove placement and his arm pullback, it is off a little bit this year, and that's why he's been hit around a couple times this year.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a side-by-side of him against the Phillies last year and him against the Phillies this year. There's a couple mechanic things that he has to clean up. But no, and I agree. Look, I love Skeens. Dude's a freaking monster. But this year, Chase Burns has probably been the second best pitcher in that entire division.
I honestly think he's been the second best pitcher in the National League, and that's no disrespect to Christopher Sanchez. That's no disrespect to whoever else is in this National League Cy Young race. The 2 best pitchers in the National League this year are Mizorowski and Chase Burns.
And that's fine, because I'm going to make the case that the number 3 is Zach Wheeler.
Yeah.
Now, I'll give Burns and Mizorowski. I mean, Mizorowski's easily number 1. I will give Burns right now over Wheeler strictly because Wheeler missed the first month. But, I mean, Zach Wheeler's worst start over the past month came yesterday.
Which is unbelievable because
he lost the game 2-1 because he should have got a no decision because I'm not talking about on this show. I don't know what the hell JT Realmuto was doing on the base pass last night. But again, that's the Philadelphia Phillies. Base running is not our strong suit. They did it again tonight. Runner at second, 1 out. Ground ball hit right to Muncy at third, and Bryson Stott's going on contact. What are we doing? This is Little League stuff.
The thing, too, with, like, the whole thing with Chase Burns, and this is the main reason why I thought the Reds were going to be a lot better than where they are. Because heading into the season, you had Hunter Green, who has already shown that he's one of the best pitchers in the National League when he's on. He throws 100 miles an hour. He's got that slider. He's got that changeup combination. Like, he's proven that he is an ace when he's right. Then you had the emergence of Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott the last couple of years, where Abbott was one of the best rookies 2 years ago pitching from the left side. Nick Lodolo paired with Andrew Abbott gave the Reds 2 of the best lefties in that division. And then the wild card this year wasn't actually even Chase Burns. Rhett Lauder, who the Reds drafted out of Wake Forest, was kind of supposed to be what Chase Burns is, and then Chase Burns was supposed to be the number 5. If Rhett Lauder turns out to be what the Reds think he can be, and then you have Chase Burns doing what he's doing, Hunter Green doing what he can do, and then Abbott and Lodolo, You cannot give me an argument to make that the Reds would not have the best starting rotation in baseball.
They definitely have the arms to do it. But again, like I said, I get it for the Reds. You knew it was going to happen. Fighting Philly, he may already. Yeah, I would say he is already outperforming the deal, and it hasn't even kicked in yet. Because, like you said, even with the CBA looming, even with the fact that there's going to be some type of something with the cap or the lack thereof, or something with the money system in this sport's going to change.
Right.
What it is, we have no freaking clue. We are not. Listen, I'm part of the media. I'm not a freaking mathematician here, okay? But the fact that there's no way that I would sit there and say I'm 12-1 in my first year. Now, granted, not everyone thinks the same. Okay, let's be real. No one thinks the same. Some of these kids are saying, what happens if I get hurt next year? What happens if I get hurt in 2 years from now? What happens if something like this happens? When you are staring at, and I think a lot of the harder part is like I'm 30 years old now, so I mean I'm older than every single one of these kids that have signed their big contracts like McGonagall and Connor Griffin. When you're that young and you see $100 million coming your way if you sign, I can understand why you make that decision. But Chase Burns this year alone is probably worth $25 million a year at least.
And that's what he would get. That's what he would get in the open market, even if the financials of the sport change. He would be able to get a 6-year, $150 to $180 million deal easily.
It seems like to me that baseball kind of wants to have they want to cap the sport, yes, but I feel like they really want to try to put when they proposed the length of the contracts when we were talking about that a few weeks ago. I feel like they kind of want to approach the NBA way of how they do it, and they want to have like 3 slots for a certain amount of money on contracts, like 3 max slots type of thing.
Yeah.
Chase Burns is going to be one of the guys you give one of those spots to.
Oh, exactly.
The guy is already one of the top 3 pitchers in probably all of baseball, especially in the National League. Like we said, in a normal year, he's probably number 2 easily in the NL Cy Young race. I know you said you have him 2. I personally would probably have him 2 or 3. I think Zach Wheeler has a very good case to compete with him. It's kind of crazy that Zach Wheeler's missed that first month and he's already kind of surpassed Christopher Sanchez, who hasn't been bad. It's just the last month has kind of killed him. After that scoreless inning streak, it's been a little rocky. He's had some bad first innings. It's not a knock on Sanchez. He's still 12-4, but
right.
In a normal year, it's usually like a 2 to 3 pitcher race. There's like 6 or 7 freaking pitchers that could win the National League Cy Young Award. Oh, not to mention, there's a couple relievers in the National League get some votes too. One of them's in San Diego.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the Reds were going to do it. You knew it, but I can't believe. I'm surprised that's all they offered him was 105. I could have saw them giving him still, even with this deal, 125.
Yeah.
I mean, McGonagall and Griffin got way over 105, didn't they?
I think so. Then they both got around 115 to 120.
Yeah, so I'm really surprised. Now, granted, a starting pitcher, only pitches, 30 games a year, yada, yada, whatever. But I am very surprised by, for 7 years, Chase Burns is 22?
23, I think, maybe 24.
So you're getting him right up to age 30.
Mm-hmm.
You just got the prime years of Chase Burns' career for $105 million over those 7 years.
Yep.
And by the time he's a free agent, he'll be 30. That I find very insane. And like we said, it's a good deal for the Reds. And like I said, when you're a kid, that young and you see that kind of money, I get it. But I really thought I think I personally, if he could have got a lot more if he would have waited. But again, with the uncertainties surrounding the game of baseball, I definitely understand why he took it.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not about to come on here and rag on somebody for taking $105 million. Trust me, you could offer me
Right.
$100 tomorrow and I take that.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to come on here and I'm not going to come on here and try to act like I'm a banker. Not the only contract extension that we saw last week, though. Kyle Bradish got a 5-year, and I believe it was $90 million from the Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that one's about fair. Because Bradish is a little older, too. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Kyle Bradish like 29 already?
Yeah, he's 29. I mean, the guy is 25 and 24 since becoming a major league player. 3.50 ERA, which I mean, it's not great, but it's not obviously that bad either. That's solid all around. He's 6-9 this year, which that is a terrible record. But a 3.61 ERA is very solid. But the thing that I don't understand about the Orioles is why they felt he was worth this contract. And you just look at Kyle Bradish's career. So he came into the majors in 2022. Pitched 23 games that season. All of those were starts. He went 4-7 with a 4.90 ERA. So obviously probably some rookie growing pains and things like that. Comes into 2023 and he makes a career high 30 starts, throws just under 170 innings, and he goes 12-7 with a 2.83 ERA. Very solid season. 2024, he made 8 starts. Was 2-0 with a 2.75 ERA. 2025, he made 6 starts. 1-1 with a 2.53 ERA. And then this year, he's 6-9 with a 3.61. When he is right, he's proven that he is an ace because you can look at the ERA numbers in 3 seasons with an ERA under a 3. And now this year with an ERA of around a 3.6. Yeah, he's proven that he can be an ace. But he's also proven that he does not stay healthy. So you just banked on 5 years of a guy who stayed healthy his first 2 years and has really not been healthy since. And now you're expecting him to give you 5 years of 30-plus starts and 170 innings every year.
Yeah, and the thing is, again, like you say, 23 really kind of broke onto the scene, won 12 games, had an ERA under 3. His ERA was under 3 of the last 3 years. However, between 24 and 25, he made 14 starts between the 2 years because he was hurt. So I think this year, ERA is a little high. He is 6-9. I think some of that is also just getting physically right and getting back healthy for the first time in, 3 years, as Shohei just absolutely crushed one, but somehow it didn't leave the yard. That's probably the best swing I've seen Shohei had this entire series. And somehow it didn't leave the ballpark. But no, it's, having that good year in 23 and then, of course, getting hurt. But, the Orioles don't really have a knack for starting pitching. So when they get at least a couple decent quality ones, I can understand. I mean, this is the second one they've done this with. They gave Shane Baz a contract extension, and before he even pitched a game with the team,
Right.
they gave him one right at the end of March. So they are clearly trying to get some type of a consistency and a core in that starting rotation because it has been a struggle for this team to find consistent starting pitching. I mean, they got Baz from Tampa. They signed Chris Bassett. That hasn't worked out. And then everything else is kind of just like there. They really don't have a lot of established starting pitchers that you could say, like, okay, if we were in a postseason game tomorrow, this is who I would throw. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, I get it. I completely agree with you. Banking on him to stay 100% healthy is a risk, given the fact that this is his first healthy season so far since 2023. But he has shown when he is healthy that he does have the potential to be a quality starter. I mean, I would sign up for a guy that wins me 12 games with a sub-3 ERA all day and twice on Sunday. Oh, yeah. I'm watching Aaron Nola serve up Aaron Nola's on like 60 homers in his past 40 starts, so I would easily take a guy like Kyle Bradish. Now, of course, Rafael Marchand just left the game hurt, so now I'm down to my last catcher. I'm having a great night, but
right.
So again, I agree with you with banking on because 5 for 90. What's that?
$19 million a year, $18 million a year.
All right, so that's a pretty hefty
I mean,
price for.
you look at the ERA that he's posted though; he's worth more than $18 million a year. But that health is always going to linger over his head until he can prove that he can stay healthy consistently, not just for one season, but for multiple seasons.
Yeah, and again, but when you're a team like Baltimore who doesn't always have the greatest luck with finding consistent starting pitching, this is kind of what you have to do. So, you know, maybe if this is Baltimore trying to find their way into putting together a decent rotation, I mean, Bradish and Shane Baz aren't the worst two you could do
Mm-hmm.
to start out your rotation. Then if you can find a way to find more guys that could be more at the top, heck, shit. I mean, Boz has pitched worse this year than Kyle Bradish. Boz is
Yeah,
4-9 with an ERA over 4,
right.
and he got an extension right before the season started, and didn't even throw a pitch yet with the Orioles. But if you look at the rest of their rotation, I mean, Bassett's on the IL, but before he went on the IL, he was 4-4, ERA's over 5. Yeah, we already talked about that. Zach Eflin pitched a game, and he's out with an elbow injury.
Yeah.
That injury killed them because Zach Eflin's another guy. When he's healthy, you've seen when he's healthy and going right.
And it's not only that when he's healthy, he's got the capabilities to be an ace. When he's healthy, you know you're going to get 6 innings from him every start. And that's what you need in your rotation. You need guys that you can throw out there every 5th day that are going to give you innings. And Zach Eflin was an innings eater.
Oh yeah. Dean Kramer's only started 5 games. His ERA is over 4. Yeah, see, this Trevor Rogers, who I think they were expecting to have kind of replicate what he did last year when he got over to Baltimore. And, he had a great year. 1.81 ERA. He was 9-3. This year he's 6-7. ERA's over 4. Really hasn't pitched as good as he did last year. They have had a lot of issues with their starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. But again, like I say, you're banking on him to stay healthy. So hopefully he does because he's proven he can be a quality starting pitcher. And when he's right, things are going all right sometimes for him. So,
right.
And if they can get Rodgers back on the right path that he was when he first got to Baltimore, you got something in that rotation at least. Not saying it's perfect, but you got something. Speaking of pitching, contract extensions aren't the only thing that's happened this over the past week. We got a couple minor trades. Cubs and Brewers.
Yeah.
We'll start off with your Cubs, and I'll let you give me your thoughts. Getting Aaron Savali from the Athletics. Are they Oakland, Vegas, Sac? What do we call these guys?
We just call them the A's.
Yeah,
they
let's
don't
call
know.
them the A's.
They don't know what they want to be anymore.
That is true. They'll probably want to move back to Oakland by the time it's ready to go to Vegas.
Yeah, because they're going to realize how hot Vegas is in the middle of summer, and they're going to be like, well, that was a dumb idea. I mean, I don't mind the Savali deal. I mean, you're not trading for him to be a starter. If he is starting, it's like one of those situations where you might have a doubleheader and you need another starting pitcher, so he would start the back end of a doubleheader. It'd be where you want to give a guy basically extra rest down the stretch, so you use that guy as a spot starter. But what you're really signing him for is to kind of be your long reliever out of the bullpen that's going to be an innings eater if a starting pitcher struggles or if somebody gets hurt and you need a reliever to give you multiple innings to not tax your bullpen. He already did that in last night's game against the Tigers when he pitched the final 2 2/3 or final 3 innings of the game last night. So he was already kind of used in the role that he was used in the role that the Cubs expected to use him in. But the other reason why I don't mind this move is the Cubs had him last year. They picked him up, I want to say mid-August from the waiver market, just so they could have him for September to kind of see what he would do heading into the playoffs. And in 13 innings with the Cubs last year, granted it was a small sample size, it's just 13 innings, but he had a 2.08 ERA in those 13 innings. Then he went on to pitch 6 innings in the postseason and didn't give up a run. So he pitched well for them in the role that he was given last year, and the Cubs did want to keep him this offseason. The only reason why he chose to sign with the Athletics was because they promised him that he would be able to compete for a starting rotation spot, which he ended up getting a starting rotation spot in spring. And what people don't realize, the ERA is one thing. He's 5-7, I think, with like a 5.92 ERA overall. But that isn't including an 8.71 ERA at Sacramento. Away from Sacramento, his ERA is a 3.02. So that's not what you're going to get out of Aaron Savali in Chicago. I'll take him at a 3.02 ERA in the role you want to put him in. So, yeah, I mean, you give up a prospect who was an undrafted free agent last year that's not even anywhere close to being a top 30 prospect. It's not a bad deal at all for the Cubs.
No, and for a team like the Cubs that, I mean, I'm just going in general, not just starting pitching in general. You guys are going through like pitchers like they're going out of style this year. And if Savali can come in and just give you any type of quality innings, whether it's 2, 3 innings out of the bullpen as a long man, or like you said, a spot start in a doubleheader, or a spot start because someone gets a late scratch, stuff like that, it's fine. And like you said, you can't take anything away from getting a pitcher from the Athletics because they pitch literally in a minor league ballpark. Look at Luis Severino last year.
Yep.
He had an ERA of like 2.93 away from Sacramento, but in Sacramento, his ERA was like 7.
Yep.
So, yeah, like you said, he had a small sample size last year with the Cubs and showed he could do some things. So, again, you can't go wrong with trying to add some type of freaking pitching depth to a team that desperately needs it.
Yeah.
Speaking of pitching depth, the Brewers and the Astros also swung a small trade. Lance McCullers Jr. going to Milwaukee, along with left-handed pitcher Colton Gordon and some cash. And going back to the Astros is outfielder Jaden Fielder. Yes, he is the son of Prince Fielder. I find it very funny that Prince Fielder's son gets traded away from the Brewers, and then shortly after they sign CC Sabathia's son.
Yeah, and Prince Fielder's son is a freak too. He's legit.
And I saw his. I'm actually happy. I was very happy to see CC's son because I actually got to see him play this year.
Nice.
He was with the Trenton Thunder to start his the season, so pretty solid hitting first baseman. So hopefully he can catch on and hopefully rise up the Brewers prospect pool in the near future because definitely cool that I got to see him play earlier this year. So Dustin, what are our thoughts on the Lance McCullers trade?
I hate it because it's the freaking Brewers, and if anyone's going to be able to have Lance McCullers turn into the Lance McCullers of old, sure shit, it's going to be the damn Brewers. So watch, he's going to get into the Brewers organization. He's going to win 8 to 10 games the rest of the year and post an ERA in the mid-2s. And it's going to suck.
Well, so far this year in 9 games, 8 starts for McCullers. He's been 2-3 with an ERA over 6.
Yep.
He has pitched in 1 game out of the bullpen for the Brewers. He pitched 3 innings, allowed 2 runs, struck out 4, walked 1. And yes, that is not the greatest start for the greatest game for your first game as a team, but the Brewers are always like, let's see how you pitch your first few games, let's see what's wrong, and let's try to fix it from there. This is the exact reason why I want to talk about this, because you said it perfectly. It's the damn Milwaukee Brewers. To some people watching this may say, you guys are making too much of a big deal over this trade. No, we're not, because it's the Milwaukee Brewers. Go ask Kyle Harrison about the Milwaukee Brewers pitching factory.
Go ask Wade Miley.
Wait, yeah, who threw what, 88 miles an hour?
Wade Miley, for his major league career, is 22 games under 500 with like a 4.44 ERA.
Except when he pitched in Milwaukee.
In 2 seasons with the Brewers, so a full season and then a partial season because he was hurt to start the year. In 2 seasons with the Brewers, Wade Miley made 43 starts and went 29-11 with a 2.67.
Again, And again, you can make the case for even more higher end talented starting pitching. I'm sorry. Let's look at Freddie Peralta with the Mets, and let's look at Freddie Peralta with the Brewers, and you tell me that there's not a difference.
Let's look at Devin Williams with the Brewers. Let's look at Devin Williams in New York.
I'm gonna say which New York, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
This is just what they do. Let's look at Josh Hader since leaving the Brewers. I mean, he's still been pretty dominant, but he's also been hurt a lot too.
Trevor McGill was jack crap. Everywhere else he's gone to the Brewers, and now he's a dominant closer.
You can date it back to as far as you guys want. From the Brewers are just this weird factory that players go there, and it's not just pitchers too. Let's go look at Andrew Vaughn with the White Sox, and now let's look at Andrew Vaughn with the Brewers. Jake Bauers was like a 240 lifetime hitter. Now he hits 280 all of a sudden. There's something in the water in Milwaukee that we don't know about.
Caleb Durbin, all those guys.
I think Caleb Durbin was a lost cause either way.
I mean, he's playing much better now that the Red Sox have decided they don't want to lose anymore. But
they are rolling.
They had the second worst record in the American League 2 weeks ago. And now they are 1.5 games out of a playoff spot.
Same thing as happened last year. They got hot late in the second half. That's why they got to the postseason last year. But yeah, now, could I see McCullers kind of having the same role? I think McCullers may honestly have the same role that you just kind of pointed out with Savali with the Cubs. However, I do think that he would probably be more of an option as a starter. I think, like I said, they used him that one game out of the pen, and I think a lot of it was like, let's see what you're working with. Let's see what's going on, because Lance McCullers, he's another guy. He's had a lot of injuries in his career. He's another guy who hasn't always been healthy. But let's not act like this guy wasn't pitching a lot of important games. And that's another thing. You get a guy who has a lot of postseason experience.
That is the reason why they got McCullers.
Got a lot of pitching experience in big games over in Houston all those years.
The guy's got a 2-3 record in the playoffs, but that's across 19 appearances, 9 starts. So he's kind of bounced. He was pretty much the number 4, the number 5 starter every time the Astros went to the playoffs. So when he was the number 4 starter, he would start. When he was the number 5 starter, he would be moved to the pen. But he's got a 3.47 ERA in the playoffs with 80 strikeouts and 1 save. That's why the Brewers are getting him. They're not getting him for what he's going to do the final 2 months of the season. They're getting him to see if they can get him right. And if they can get him right, he's going to be on their playoff roster in some capacity. Whether that's as a reliever, whether that's as their number 4 starter. They just want him to do what he's always done in the playoffs. And if he can do that, the trade is a win for the Brewers.
I will say that you said his career postseason ERA is 3.47.
Yes.
I would like to say that about 80% of that came from one game, and that was Game 3 of the 2022 World Series, where the Phillies smacked about 7 home runs off of him.
Yeah, you take that game away, it's a 264.
Exactly, which that will always be known as the game that Joe Davis called us the South Philly Bombers, which I thought was the coolest nickname that you could ever think of, because that entire Red October run, all we did was hit like 3 to 4 balls out of the ballpark every game. So, but no, like you said it well. You know, he's even got a save in the postseason. He's pitched out of the bullpen. He's pitched in the rotation. He can give you either that 3 to 4. Because here's the thing: the Brewers in the postseason, outside of Mizorowski and Harrison, they don't need their starters to go 6 or 7. They can turn that into a 4-inning game like that with that bullpen. So if you need a guy to kind of give you that 3 to 4 inning start as like the 4th starter on a Major League Baseball postseason team like the Brewers, they can turn it around and take you out in the first if you don't score within the first 4 innings, it's over.
And the save that Lance McCullers got was a 3 2/3 inning save. So it's not like the Brewers wouldn't be able to be like, oh, we're up 2-0 here in the 7th inning. All right, McCullers, you're going to finish it.
Yeah, so he could even spend your freaking a lot of the important pieces of your bullpen too while he's at it.
Yeah.
So Yeah, again, it's like we said, people may come on here and say, with the deadline a couple of weeks away, we're making too much talk about a trade like this. These are the little trades that teams make that if they do win a World Series, you're like, damn, I wonder what they would have done without that guy.
Mhm.
That's like I tried to say about 2008. The Phillies, do they win that World Series without Matt Stairs taking Bronxton 500 feet to right center? I don't know.
No,
Do they
probably
win the World
not.
Series? They don't win the World Series that year if they don't trade for Joe Blanton, when everybody wanted Manny Ramirez and CC Sabathia. Well, we
Mhm.
end up going and getting Joe Blanton, and not only did he go undefeated for the rest of the season with the Phillies, won a game in the World Series, hit a freaking home run in the World Series, and not to mention was a mainstay in the Phillies rotation from 2008 to 2012 until we traded him to the Dodgers. They turned to a freaking elite reliever.
Right.
I love me some Big Joe. Speaking of the Phillies, oh boy. Last week, we got some bad news. Phillies reliever Brad Keller has a torn UCL and is expected to miss the rest of the season. If he undergoes surgery on his right elbow, it would keep him out a significant portion, if not all, of the 2027 season as well. Keller signed a 2-year, $22 million contract this winter. Let me just say something about Jeff Passan's tweet there, real quick. When you say torn UCL, there is no other option than surgery.
Yeah.
Give me the track record of the guys that say, "Oh, I'll just rehab it." No, that's not how this goes.
No. And I think the only reason why Passan tweeted it out is because it's a 2-year deal. If there is no baseball next year, Keller's done as a Philly.
Yep, and that's another lovely deal by Dave Dombrowski gone wrong.
And I mean, this is one of those deals that you can't blame him on, though, because Brad
No,
Keller was a top 5 reliever in the National League last year, and he was
he
one of the
was.
more coveted pitchers the entire offseason, not just for his ability to be a reliever, but some teams even wanted to make him a starter again, and ultimately he went with the Phillies. But like, that's one of those deals you can't predict it. He got hurt; it is what it is. But like looking back on it, for 2 years at $22 million, any team's gonna get. I'm not gonna say any team, but if that's the deal that Keller's gonna get, the Phillies are gonna do that deal all over any year. The Dodgers will do that deal. Like any team would have given Keller that kind of a contract that actually got him based on what he did last year with the Cubs.
Yeah, I was ecstatic when they signed him. And, then, of course, he gets to the season. He's getting out of a lot of jams, but something's off the entire year. The command's not there. The velocities was there, but the command wasn't there. Something didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, he goes on the IL. They call it a forearm strain. He pitches one rehab start on July the 8th. He's had one rehab game. And then we didn't hear anything. He didn't pitch another rehab game. He didn't do anything. We were hearing nothing. And when I was listening to 97.5 The Fanatic about it, Ricky Pataligo said, that's weird. Usually relievers get 3 appearances a week and then they're back up. He only got 1, and now we haven't heard anything. Then now, of course, we find out it's a torn UCL. And like I said, I get Passan. I get the tweet sounds optimistic. He's not pitching another game as a Philly.
No.
He will not pitch again he's done for this year. Unless that UCL heals unless he gets the power of Achilles and that thing heals like it's nothing. But
yeah,
the biggest reason that this hurts so much, and then the Dodgers take 2 or 3 from the Phils. What else is new? But what kills the Phillies so much with this is what Brad Keller was signed to be. He was supposed to be part of that bridge to Johan Duran, to be that right-handed 8th-inning guy, and probably split time with Jose Alvarado, because, the Phillies they're very analytically driven. They do righty-lefty matchups. If there's 2 out of 3 lefties coming up in the 8th inning, you're going to see Jose Alvarado, and if you didn't, you're going to see Brad Keller. Unfortunately, now, whether Philly fans like Brad Keller or not, this leaves them a huge hole in the back end of that bullpen, because now you have to move Orion Kirkring up into that role. And I'm not saying Orion Kirkring can't do it, but he's also not always the most consistent relief pitcher. I mean,
right.
One night he'll come out and strike out the side. Then there's the situation in Cincinnati where he walks the bases loaded.
Yep.
And it's not just having to move Kerkering into Keller's role, but now you have to ask yourself, who's taking Kerkering's role?
They brought in Keller to be, how do I word this? Because it's hard to describe it. Daniel Palencia was the Cubs closer last year. The guy was 20, I think 25 of 27 or 26 of 29 in saves last year. Brad Keller was the Cubs' best reliever last year. If the best part of the lineup was coming in the seventh inning, Keller would get the best part of the lineup. If they were coming in the eighth, he would pitch the eighth. And if the best part of that lineup was due up in the ninth, he would get the save over Daniel Palencia. Like, he was their best relief option, especially with the game on the line. That is what the Phillies were bringing him in for. Like, yes, Johan Duran is their closer. And more often than not, the Phillies are going to let him pitch against whoever the hell he wants to pitch against. But there are going to be certain situations where if Keller gets on the roll that he had last year, you're going to use him in the sixth inning, the seventh inning, or the eighth inning whenever that pocket of the lineup is coming up that you trust him with the most.
Yeah. And unfortunately now, with him out, they have to figure a way to get production out of. I mean, they just brought up this kid, Alex McFarland, who's one of their top relief pitching prospects. Kerkering will still factor into this. Alvarado will factor into this. Oh, fighting Philly. I didn't forget Big Bad John. Jonathan Bolden, who they got. Bolin, who they got in the Matt Strom deal. And Jonathan Bolin this year, 2.94 ERA for the Phillies. He's out here pumping 98 effortlessly. Meanwhile, over in Kansas City, Mr. Strom. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. Matt Strom has an ERA of 7.09.
I'm going to say he's going to get Tommy John this offseason.
Keller?
Because his fastball velocity is down 3.6 miles an hour this year than it was last year. There is something with his arm right now.
You talking about Strom?
Yeah.
Oh, we knew this. This was happening last year.
Like,
he was dipping his V.
His average fastball last year was like 94.8, close to 95. He is at like 91.3 right now.
And it was at 96 when the Phillies first signed him.
Yep.
Now, granted, Matt Strom has logged a lot of innings out of that Phillies bullpen the last 3 years, and even he also started like 9 games in 23 when they first signed him because they had no fifth starter. What else is new?
Right.
But
I'm not gonna say he's gonna have like a Tommy John per se, but I do think he's gonna have something with his elbow done this offseason. Whether it's like cleaning something up, whether it's like a minor Tommy John, where it's a typical like 6-month recovery timetable. I do think he's going to have something done on his arm this offseason just because of how much velocity he's lost.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if that's even going to be something that can fix it because, again, the velocity's been dropping every year since he's been with the Phillies. He's just found a way to get around it. And I will give Dave Dombrowski credit for that. As much as there are a lot of moves that I don't like that he's done, I think the Trey Turner and Aaron Nola contracts may be two of the worst contracts in baseball. But then he pulls off something like that where he trades Matt Strom, who they got 3 incredible years out of. He was one of the best lefty relievers in baseball while he was in Philadelphia. And then you get him for Jonathan Bolin, who this year, Caleb Cotham, who, by the way, should have a lot better of a reputation than what he has around baseball with the pitchers that he's worked with, what he's done for Christopher Sanchez, what he's done with Zach Wheeler, what he's done with Jesus Luzardo. And now Jonathan Bolin is out of their bullpen. His ERA is at 2.94. He's pumping 98 like it's nothing. And then Dombrowski got Bolin, who now the Phillies have 6 years of team control with. So you get another decent middle reliever for 6 years for a guy who's on an expiring contract, whose ERA now is well over 7.
Right.
So I'll give Dombrowski a smidge of credit there. But, we're going to probably talk a lot of trade deadline next week or in the next coming weeks. But they have to figure out a right-handed reliever now. According to Bob Nightingale, they are being linked to Luke Weaver, who's had a really good year for the Mets, but apparently someone said the price tag will be high. And when I hear the price tag will be high, that's when Davey has to back up and say, oh, well, we have a good club. We're very confident in the guys in that bullpen. We have a good club. Andrew Painter's first 10 career starts should be all you need to know about the Phillies prospect pool. If a team wants a prospect, which one do you want? I'll give it to you. You're not going to probably if you have baseball next year, you'll probably play 60 games if you're lucky. If this is the year that you have to go for it, well, somebody better call John Cena because the time is now.
Mm.
Because Bryce Harper and them are not getting any younger. So if you want to get one good shot at this, you better do it now. If a team wants something for Luke Weaver, you give it to them. Because the reports are already coming out that the Phillies, they're going to be heavy on adding. Yeah, well, you know what? They could add all they want, but guess what? Dave Dombrowski hasn't added a consistent bat to this lineup at the trade deadline yet.
Right.
So, but apparently they are looking for another impact arm. That didn't say starting pitcher. It didn't say reliever. It said arm. I'm sure they'll be in on Luke Weaver. The Padres seem like they're pretty hell-bent on trading Mason Miller. Do the Phillies get involved there? Because I'll tell you right now, could you imagine, just imagine, a postseason game where you got to deal with Zach Wheeler for 7 innings, and then you got to deal with Mason Miller 8th, Johan Duran 9th.
Hate to break it to you, Duran would be going to the 8th.
No, he wouldn't.
You're not trading what you're gonna have to give up for Mason Miller to put him in the 8th inning.
Here's why. Miller has pitched the 8th a lot more in his career than Duran has. That's why. It will be the same thing as the Padres last year. They didn't move Suarez out of the role last year. The Phillies wouldn't do it with Duran this year. That's why I said that. Because Duran has always been a closer. Miller has been a closer, but he's pitched the 8th inning and has done it a lot more effectively than Duran has. That's why I put it that way. But either way, I don't care who pitches 8, who pitches 9. If Zach Wheeler's giving me 7, and then the 8th and 9th is Miller Duran, have freaking fun. You probably have 2 hits in that game.
Yeah.
Even I don't think they're going to get Mason Miller because the Padres are going to get, if they do trade him, they are going to get a haul. Even if it is Luke Weaver, I'm okay with that. Give me another high-impact right-handed pitcher. Because, like I said, when they signed Brad Keller, they wanted him and Alvarado to be the combo in the 8th inning because of the matchups. Alvarado's been bad.
Yep.
So it's not just getting another impact reliever to help out Alvarado. You just need an impact reliever in general. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, we're probably going to talk a lot more trade deadline. I mean, we got, barely 2 weeks?
2 weeks from Sunday.
So it's going to be a very entertaining couple of weeks. So
1 week from Monday, so about a week and a half. I forgot the deadline got pushed back till after next weekend. So the deadline is what, August 3rd?
Okay, so hang tight, people, because we're coming in for a landing on this deadline because there is going to be – I do have the Jeff Passan top 100 trade candidates. We're going to bring that up next week.
Nice.
As for this show, Dustin, we got a bone to pick with a certain grid. So let's kick this grid's behind and call it a night.
Sweet.
Let's see what we got this week.
Woo-hoo!
All right. Here we are. So, on your top half, you have the Braves, a 6+ WAR season, played the outfield minimum of 1 game. And on the left side, you have Tigers, Giants, played first base minimum 1 game. You have got to be freaking kidding me with this, right?
This will be easy.
Oh, sure, yeah. Let's just say, yeah. You say it's easy. I'm not good. Where would you like to start this off?
I want to go played outfield and played first base minimum 1 game.
Okay.
We're going to go Ben Zobrist.
Oh, I thought we would have went Lance Berkman there.
We're going for points. We're not going for obvious.
So Ben Zobrist is our winner?
Mm-hmm.
0.8%. The ultimate utility man. No one guessed it. But I guess when you think of Ben Zobrist, you think of all the teams he played with. I mean, when he played in Tampa, he played with Carlos Pena, and then KC had Hosmer, Rizzo in Chicago. So
Yep.
I get why people wouldn't think he played first base, but nope, he was the jack of all trades. All right, so played outfield. So here's the thing with San Francisco. I know who we could put for played outfield, but I think we should hold that player for the 6+ WAR season.
Yeah.
So are we going to put the obvious choice for the 6+ WAR season
Yeah.
and put Mr. Bonds?
Yeah, we can go him there.
All right, so Barry Bonds, and now played outfield for a minimum of 1 game.
Let's go Angel Pagan.
Angel Pagan? Okay. All right, there he is. Former 2012 World Series champion. All right. Let's try to think of the Tigers. Let's just knock out that outfield real quick. A lot of obvious ones.
Javi Baez.
Yeah, but
How many people, unless you watch the Tigers, are going to realize that Baez made the switch to outfield this year?
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of. I'm not saying it is obvious, but I'm trying to think of someone else.
I'm trying to think of someone else. He goes.
How about Marcus Timms?
Wasn't he first base though?
I'm fact checking. I don't care. I'm fact checking that.
I thought Marcus. Oh, I'm thinking Eric Thames. Eric Thames was. Eric Thames was the first baseman that I'm thinking of. What about Delman Young?
Oh, why do you have to bring that name up? All right. You know what? Just because it makes me sad, we'll go Delman Young. All right. 0.5%. Good pull. Good pull.
CSM, I'm going for points.
Oh, you and your damn points. So far, you're already doing better than Tyler and I did. I'm already upset. All right.
Red Sox lost the game, by the way.
Did they?
They just lost, yeah.
All right, so let's get that last kind of tricky one. Let's get played first base with a 6+ WAR season out of the way.
What about the Big Hurt?
Big Hurt? All right. Frank Thomas. I'm all cool with the Big Hurt. 3%. There we go.
Nugenics, man. Nugenics.
All right, and now we need a Tiger with a 6+ WAR season.
Do we do Scooble?
Think Verlander had one?
He probably did when he won the MVP, but I know for sure that Scooble had it 2 years ago and last year.
All right, let's put Mr. Scooble in there. All right. And now we have to get someone who's played for the Tigers and Braves, the Giants and Braves, and played a minimum of 1 game at first base for the Braves.
First base for the Braves, you can do Andres Galarraga.
All right. Look at that, rocking that old Expos hat.
Does he not look like the great Khali kind of in that picture?
He kind of does.
Just without the long hair.
All right, so now we need Braves and Giants, and then we need Tigers and Braves.
Braves and Giants, you can go Will Smith, the reliever.
Or we do Dan Uggla.
How long was Uggla on the Giants?
I'm fact checking. I don't care. I'm not losing to this damn grid. I don't care.
No cheating.
I'm fact checking. There's a difference. And actually, yes, because he was traded from the Braves to the Giants.
Okay.
So, which one would we like to go
We
with?
can go Ugla. We can go Ugla. That's your pull. We can
Let's go
Ugla.
Big Bad Dan. Watch the grid. Psych, you were wrong. Look at that. Look at that 0.7. All right, and now we need well, one pops into my head for this one.
Who pops into your head?
Go Kenley Jansen.
See, that was the one that I was thinking too, but that's too obvious. I want to try to get one that's not as obvious.
Okay, so who? No.
What about John Smoltz?
He never pitched for Detroit.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure he never pitched for Detroit.
Gary Sheffield's too obvious, I think.
Did Sheffield? I don't know if Sheffield played in Atlanta.
Sheffield played in Atlanta.
Did he?
Yes, he did. Put Gary Sheffield down.
Are you sure? I don't remember him playing for Atlanta.
Put Gary Sheffield down.
All right. Hey. 10%. I honestly forgot he played for the Braves.
I think he played like 64 games for him. Didn't play much. Didn't play much and didn't play well either.
Yeah, I remember Detroit. I remember the Yankees. I remember the Marlins. I remember the Dodgers. Of course, he has a freaking Dodger hat on. I don't remember the Braves.
I don't remember him on the Tigers. I remember he was with the Tigers in spring training and he made the team. But I don't even remember how he did in Detroit. Like, that was the year after he was with Atlanta. He was terrible in Atlanta.
You know what? Why we're on before we call it a night? Let's go look at that real fast. Gary Sheffield. Okay, Gary Sheffield. Here we go. Here we are. All right, Gary Sheffield, of course, started in Milwaukee. Then got traded to the Padres. Then got traded to the Marlins. Then he got traded to the Dodgers. He actually spent 2 years in Atlanta in 2002, 2003. He hit 25 home runs his first year in Atlanta while driving in 84. And then he hit 39 and drove in 132. Then he went to the Yankees.
He actually hit a 307 and a 330, so he actually did pretty well with the Braves.
Yes, he did. Then he went to the Yankees, had 2 really productive years, hit 36 and 34 and drove at 120. However, 06 with the Yankees, only played 39 games, and then he was in Detroit the latter half of his career, ending his career. And then he ended his career in 2009 by playing 100 games for the Mets.
Yeah, it was Detroit that I was thinking of because his first year in Detroit, he hit a 265 with 25 home runs and 75 RBIs. And then the next year, he had 19 homers, 57 RBIs, but only hit a 225.
Yep. So Gary Sheffield was. So, all right, we actually took down the grid this week. Thank goodness, because I'm still not over this past Mondays.
Which one did you do on Monday? Oh, do we have time to do a football one just for the hell of it?
I mean, I have plenty of time.
Throw a football one on there.
All right, yeah, let's have. You know what? Let's throw a football one on here real quick. Let me just get the football one up real quick, and then I'll put the share screen back on. Oh dear God, what in the world is this? All right, let's get that share screen back up here. One moment, please. There we go. All right, let's reshare the screen here. We're going off the grid on hitting home. We're doing a football grid on hitting home. Who cares? All right. Top section, you got Giants, Bengals, recorded an interception, and then you got Broncos, Steelers, and Seahawks.
All right.
Where on earth do we start this?
Well, we can do Patrick Surtain for interception, obviously. Or Patrick Surtain the second, whatever he is.
Yeah, right. let's not get it mixed up here. Okay.
Seahawks, please put Richard Sherman in there.
Steelers, we could do a few guys.
Do we do Mr. Head and Shoulders?
Who is Mr. Head and Shoulders? I'm blanking.
Troy Polamalu.
Dude, listen. We've been talking baseball, okay? You can't get me all confused now. Okay, there we go. Now this is where it's going to be fun.
Quarterbacks are going to be easy.
Oh,
The first quarterback, the first row you can do Drew Lock for the Giants and Broncos, and then you can do Russell Wilson for the Giants and Steelers.
Or we could do the Giants and the Seahawks, Russell Wilson.
I have somebody else for that one.
Okay. So we're doing Drew Lock for the Broncos and Giants, right?
Yep.
Okay. Steelers, we're doing Russell Wilson. Who are we doing here?
Golden Tate.
Oh, Jesus. Golden Tate. Okay, now it gets fun.
The only one that I can think of off the top of my head for the Broncos and Bengals would be Samaje Perine.
That's kind of funny.
What?
The fact that 27% of people actually did that is kind of hilarious. All right, now we need a Steeler and a Bengal, and we need a Seahawk and a Bengal.
Did James Harrison play for both the Steelers and the Bengals?
I don't think so. I think Harrison was New England, and then he retired.
Oh, Neil O'Donnell.
For who?
Steelers and Bengals. Neil O'Donnell, because Neil O'Donnell began his career with the Steelers, and then he finished it as the Bengals backup.
Am I putting his name wrong?
I think it's like O''Donnell. And to spell Neil is Neil.
Neil. There we go. There he is. All right, Dustin, you officially joined George on the My Guest Has No Photo.
Well, that's because, like I said, he was good with the Steelers for a while, and then he ended his career as the Bengals backup to... What year did he retire? Let's say
it was
04?
I think it was 03.
03, he would have been backing up Carson Palmer.
Oh, God. All right, now we need a Bengal and a Seahawk.
Noah Fant.
Oh, God. And there we go. 2 for 2.
I came up here earlier.
Let's do basketball, and then we'll call it a night, because hockey, I'm screwed.
Hockey.
Oh, yeah, hockey for you doing your own. All right. Let's rock and roll with some NBA. Oh, dear God. All right, kids. Let's see how this one goes. All right. So you got Houston Rockets. I believe that's the Clippers at the top.
Clippers logo, yeah.
I hate that logo. 5+ assists per game. And then on the left side, you got Dallas Mavericks, Portland Trailblazers, and the Orlando Magic.
5 assists per game, we can put Luka.
With Jason Kidd, too.
I want Luka. I like Luka.
Okay, I'm not saying we're not putting them. Don't worry. 19%. All right.
Blazers, we could do Dame.
No.
Okay.
Magic, we can do Suggs.
All right, now we need a Maverick and we have Mavericks, Clippers, Blazers, Clippers, Magic, Clippers, and then of course you got the Rockets on the other side.
Mavericks, Clippers, you can do Chris Kaman.
Oh my God! What a name! You could have done that for. I think you could have done that for the Blazers too.
What a mugshot.
I think you could have done the Blazers too. Pretty sure he played there too. All right, let's think about this for a second.
Magic or Rockets, you can do T-Mac.
Oh, and that old school purple Raptors jersey.
And then Magic, Clippers, you can do Hedo Turkoglu.
All right. Oh, hold on.
Now it's going to get tough.
But Nick Batum for the Clippers and the Blazers.
You do Nick Batum?
Now
This is comfy.
all right, so now we need Blazers, Rockets, and Mavericks, Rockets. This should not be that hard.
Mavericks, Rockets, you can do Jason Terry.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
High socks and headband.
Hey man. Oh, wait a minute. Come on, this is easy.
For what?
Scottie Pippen.
Oh yeah, Scottie Pippen. Yeah. The other one I would have did for the Blazers and Clippers would have been Darius Miles.
Oh God.
Coach Carter vibes, Darius Miles.
All right, so somehow we got into the habit of doing 3 grids tonight and nailed all 3 of them. So, Tyler, if you're watching, the pressure is on us Monday night. Because Dustin and I just did 3 grids and we went 12 for 12. I don't know. It sounded good.
12 for 12? You mean
12
27?
for 12.
You mean 27 for 27?
Nope, not doing that. Not doing that math. But 3 grids, 3 perfect scores. Let's just say it there. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up tonight's episode. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Talked some MLB All-Star Game. Talked about some of the contract extensions handed out to some starting pitchers. Talked a little bit of the minor trades around baseball. I get to get depressed over the Phillies once again, which is always fun. And somehow we got in the business of doing a baseball, football, and basketball grid and swept all 3. So thank you, everybody, for commenting in tonight. Thank you, everybody who tuned in on both the Facebook and the YouTube side of things. We'll be back at it on Friday with some Birds of the Gridiron to end the week. Eagles training camp is next week, so we'll be talking about that and a bunch of other fun topics for that. But for everybody who checked out tonight, thank you all for watching. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time. For Dustin Reese, I'm Sam Nelson. Have a good night, everybody. Talk to you soon.
The following has been a presentation of 609 Sports Talk Radio.
Sam, what did you